Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, I got a big package from Barnes & Noble today. I know what it is. And I wanted to use this as an example for last week's video about one of the tips that I shared in that video where it was saving up for a splurge. And I want to make it perfectly clear that this item, including the 10% discount, was $122, or not, maybe $120. It was between $120 and $130 total, the item itself. And it is not normal to spend that much money on one thing. It's not a normal thing to do that, and it's not normal to do that regularly. And it's why I think the one tip where it's like you save up your rewards for a splurge, I think that's why it's a little bit beneficial. Again, not that you have to save up your Barnes & Noble rewards for a splurge. You can always just use them for your next purchase. But it's kind of like one of those things where it's like if you save up, it can be worth it in the long run. No matter what, any rewards that you get from Barnes & Noble are worth it. And any $5 reward you get as a result from collecting 10 stamps is worth it. So, because it'll be $5 off your next purchase. But I wanted to share this as an example of being like, hey, if you have something a little bit of a bigger ticket item almost, it can be worth saving up. And it's just kind of like saving up in the real world for a big ticket item, you know? So, I have, but I do have scissors, so let's make this easy on myself. And I was just gonna do this as be safe with scissors, guys. I say with open scissors as I'm cutting towards myself, which you should never do. I had a thought, it'll come back to me. Oops, there we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, so again, like I said, it is not normal to spend $120. Again, I saved up so that, and plus too, I had a gift card from my grandmother. So at the end of the day, I only spent like $33 on this, but at the same time, I did have to spend enough money to get up to $70 in rewards. Because if you remember, it's $10 for one stamp. It is 10 stamps for a $5 reward. So keep that in mind, because you still have to get money to get to this point. You still have to make money to get to this point. So, oh my gosh. And this is something that I've had on my wish list for a while now. I thought it was more of a green. It definitely came off in the pictures as more of a green. Oop, that might have been from me. So, I am really excited. Oop. And part of the reason why this has been on my radar is because Magic Knight Rayearth was one of my first animes. I don't quite remember what my first anime was. And it was either Inuyasha or Magic Knight Rayearth. I don't quite remember which one it was. Because it was at a time in my life that I'm like, I blocked a lot of my childhood. So, and it's at a time in my life where it was a time in my life where I'm starting to remember stuff. Or I start to remember stuff. But I just know it was between Magic Knight Rayearth and Inuyasha. So, just to make it a little bit easier on myself to hold. This is the box set. Box set. Very pretty. I'll set it over here. And if we're actually getting a revamp for this, which I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. I'm so excited. I just need the 3rd book of part 2 in the paperback form. So there's volume 1. Oh, my sweet girls. Brothers. Oh, my sweet girls. It's okay. The thing is it of its time? 100%. But that's what we love about it. I will say though, my sister and I were talking about this, is they can't, it's one of those tricky fun lines where, especially in season 2 with part 2 of Manga, they have the place where Caldina's from, and then there's the China-inspired land, and then there's Autozom. With the land that Caldina's from, and then the China-inspired lands, they do kind of need to be careful about that, but at the same time, I don't want them to just completely rewrite it into something different, because it's like those were key parts of the story, and it's like, I love Caldina so much, and I love like the 2 other women who were from Caldina's homeland, Chiseta. Just remembered what it was called. Chiseta and Farron. There we go. I remembered it. It's in the brain box. They can't just. Part of it is nostalgia point for me, and they can't just rewrite it. But I think they do need to do it in a way where, 1, they're not rewriting it, and 2, they're actually being respectful of the cultures that Chiseta and Farron are based off of. Autozom's a little bit more vague with what it's based off of, so no worries with Autozom, probably Western Europe. But Chiseta and Autozom, they do need to be respectful. Like, I don't want them to fully get rid of that. Anyway, this is the back of volume 2. Of course, it's not focusing, but that's okay. Oh my God. This just, it makes... Atlantis is on the first fucking page. Oh, Eagle. Eagle was like my first crush. Honestly, I love Eagle so much. Still love him to this day. Again, it's an energy thing. It was a looks and energy thing. And then... sort of focusing. There we go. That's the back. It's Wyndham. Yeah, in this, Eagle doesn't die. Which is bullshit. They better not have Eagle die in the revamp. He does not die in the manga. So they better not have him freaking die in the new anime, because he doesn't die in the manga. I was so pissed off about that. Again, Eagles might be. I'm not gonna show the artwork. But Monica. Madoka? No, Monica. You can tell it's a picture of Eagle by how I react. Oh, and something else my sister and I were also talking about is that, like, we like how Umi didn't end up with anyone. Where it's like, you know that Hikaru ends up with Atlantis. Fu ends up with Fario. That's gonna start because the names are so close. But like Umi, it's not determined who she ends up with. So it's like, that's something that we appreciated, where it's like she didn't need to end up with someone to be fulfilled. Oh my goodness. Now we're gonna put this on my bookshelf. I do have a spot for it in my bookshelf resets. I did have a spot for it on the top shelf. So I'm gonna put this up there. and then I'll be back to close out the video. Okay, so the spot is right there, so I have to scoot that stuff over a little bit. It's going right there next to part 1. And now I have the full complete set. And I think part of the reason why this anime and this series means so much to me, get to scoot Polygrade Diaries over, is because I related to like all 3 of the main characters so deeply in different ways that it was like, it can't not mean a whole lot to me. Ooh. Did I misjudge? Did I misjudge here? Oh my god. So I don't have space at the end. So initially when I had planned it out, it was a little shorter. Initially when I had planned it out, like out the shelf, I had space for part 2, and then I had a little bit of space at the end, but it doesn't look like I have that end space now. Not a big deal. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video now. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.